Yo guys, what's going on? Got another BT8 deck profile for you guys. So this is going to be a Veemon like armor rush, kind of just playing a bunch of Veemons and lots of the armor Digimon out of BT8. So really fun deck if you enjoy the Adventure 2 series as I do. So this deck has a lot of things going for it, I think. First of all, you get to play very versatile level 4 Digimon who have the, of course, armor keyword ability, armor purge. So this ability lets you basically, if this Digimon would be deleted, you can just trash the top card of this Digimon, including, which basically means itself. So basically, like Magnemon would be deleted, you can just kill it, and then just your Veemon lives. So it's really nice effect that lets you, kind of extend your plays and lets your Digimon live twice, basically. So really nice keyword there. Of course, they do come with a little bit of a hefty cost, so even if you're playing like Veemon specifically, Magnemon evolves for 3, whereas the Flame Dramon in them evolve for 2. So you're definitely getting value out of the fact that you are playing a Veemon base. And then speaking of those, all of your Veemons have really powerful effects. Now keep in mind, this rookie count is currently only at 12, which you might think is a little bit on the lower side, but honestly, you could probably even cut it down to 10. I think the really only essential ones you need here are 4 copies of the Jamming Veemon, because this guy is hands down the best one to pair with the armor Digimon. Kind of your main game plan here is to swing with the Jamming Veemon, digivolve it into something like a Magnemon, which lets you unsuspend it, or if you digivolve into any other armor Digimon and you've got something like Davis Ken on the field, lets you suspend this Tamer since you digivolve into a Digimon with 2 or more colors, and then unsuspend that Digimon, basically getting 2 swings off of any champion interaction. And not to mention their on digivolve effect, of course. But then probably the best reason that this card is good is because just being able to swing into security in a meta full of really powerful Digimon, and 2000 is anything to write home about, but the fact that he has jamming lets you basically get more value out of your level 4 Digimon. So if you swing into security with a Flame Dramon or something, it dies, and then if your Veemon lives, you basically get a guaranteed security check if your opponent does not have the means to out it. Otherwise, they basically have to like double attack your Digimon, or get rid of the Veemon immediately, otherwise they know it's going to live, and it's kind of a threat to them. So this one's really good for all those reasons. Probably the other second best one is the Veemon from the starter deck, from the all 4 starter deck. Not really for the main effect, of course, because you're not playing all 4 Veemon in this deck, but maybe there's some spicy lists that might be coming up of all 4 soon. But anyways, guys, this is used for the inherited. If you've got 7 or fewer cards in your hand, trigger draw 1. Now notice that it's not actually a once per turn effect. Now, while it's not as like crazy consistent as the Imperial Dramon build, or like not as fast paced, you're not really drawing like 4 or 5 cards every single turn. But if you do, like I said, have a way to unsuspend this Digimon, you can possibly trigger it multiple times. Plus this, plus Ubamon does net you a double draw. You could also consider playing Demi Veemon to pair with the Jamming Veemon, but I honestly don't think that's the best move, because in Imperial specifically, you got the you got this Veemon, you've got the EX1 X Veemon, and then you've got Pilot Dramon who can get jamming via the EX1 X Veemon. So I think in that scenario, you probably have way more ways to trigger a draw 1, but for Ubamon, I think this deck is probably good enough. So those 2 are really your bread and butter plays. The other Veemons, I think the on-play Veemons do definitely have their place in the deck. Of course, this one being able to search the top 4 and then add any 2-color blue card amongst those to your hand is really significant. This searches basically like half your deck, which is pretty cool. So this card is definitely a really good searcher. It searches like all your champions. The spicy Shakumon that we'll talk about in a little bit, don't worry, we'll get to him. Of course, searches Megadeth as well as your Davis and Ken Tamers. So lots of searchability in this deck. You could honestly possibly even cut this one. This Digimon, this Veemon does search freeze, so it searches himself like any of the Veemons, plus any of the canonical Veemon lines, so any of like Magnemon, Flame Dramon, Light Dramon. But of course, this one does the same thing, but it just like searches more cards. And I don't think you're really going to be in a position where you're wanting more Veemons. Honestly, there were a lot of times throughout testing where like 12 Veemons was like arguably too many, especially with the mulligan rule in place. With no mulligan, I would probably recommend playing this amount, but with mulligan in place, I'd probably cut it down to 10 and just fit in more option cards or more versatility Digimon. So anyways, that's it for the rookies. And then for the champions, of course, 2 Lobomons just to be able to go for game. I think Lobomon's definitely probably better than Kumamon just because of the higher DP. You don't really care about the fact that it's strip source in this deck. You're really just using this to go for game. And then plus being able to possibly go into Shakumon off of this, like if it lives, is a little bit relevant. So just of course having hybrids to go for game is really nice. And then now let's talk about the main focus of this deck, the Armor Digimon. So with BT8 we've got Lydramon, Flamedramon, and Magnamon, all very good for different reasons. Lydramon is the dual blue and green colored. This guy on a Digivolve suspends a level 4 or lower, so really good board control here. Basically like the Metal Kabuterimon of the deck. Really powerful stuff. Being able to just swing over rookies, Bokomons, Gazis, just opponents, Veemons, stuff like that is really nice. And then of course all of them come with the Armor Purge keyword that I've already talked about. Flamedramon is pretty solid. He's probably the weakest of the 3 just because really all he does is get plus 3,000, so he goes to 8k, big enough to swing over most ultimates, but that's not really the biggest reason why that's relevant. Really you're just going to be chucking this at security, so being able to live while you're 8,000 and then having an Armor Purge Digimon on your opponent's turn that they have to get rid of is pretty nice. So Flamedramon's pretty cool, and then of course being able to boost him up with something like Fire Rocket. This is one of the in-theme like armor Digimon like option cards that basically say while you have an armor form you can just ignore the color requirements, so being able to use this with a Flamedramon is pretty nice. Security attack +1 on any of these is really good, and that's another reason why Veemon, the jamming one, is really good, because if you save, for example, like swing into security with a Lydramon, and you're checking 2 because you've got the Fire Rocket. Fire Rocket doesn't actually boost DP like Lightning Joust does, but let's say you're checking 2 for this 5,000 DP, which is pretty weak. Let's say he dies on the first swing, then you can Armor Purge it, go into the Veemon, and then now it still checks a second card because the Fire Rocket is worded the same as Lightning Joust. It gains the security attack +1 for the turn, and then Veemon will be checking the second card, but he's also got jamming, so he won't die unless you hit an option card. So that's a really nice interaction. So Flamedramon's cool for that, and then a Magnamon, of course, is the best one, of course, but he's also the most expensive. So not only does he have Armor Purge, but he also has the blocker keyword. So yeah, we're playing blockers once again, unlike the VT7 meta, but of course it's really only this guy, and the reason why he's really good is because when Digivolve you get to just unsuspend him, and you get plus 2,000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn for each card with armor form in your trash. So you can get this guy, like if you've only got one in trash, he's a 9,000 champion with blocker. That's pretty difficult to deal with, not of course, not even mentioning like the Armor Purge effect. So you can get him pretty big during your opponent's turn. It can save you a lot of games, and then being able to Armor Purge to save your Veemons is awesome as well. Just getting in extra swings as well. Being 3 to evolve from a Veemon is really broken, because you can like swing with a Veemon with jamming, Digivolve Magnamon, unsuspend, possibly swing again, or possibly like Fire Rocket swing multiple times. So it's just a lot of aggression and lots of versatility from these 3 Digimon. Now for the kind of spicy tech in this deck, and I honestly think you could probably get away with playing more copies of this, or even something like Sylphimon, but the reason I'm playing Shakumon here is because he is a dual yellow-purple, so basically you just need to have Magnamon plus any of the other blue champions, so either Lobo, Lydramon, Flamedramon, or another copy of himself, because they are all treated as blue as well. Basically you just DNA Digivolve this for 0. It's another way to get like another swing in, plus the recovery is really cool. Remember that DNA Digivolve Digimon do have all of their status conditions reset, so not only once per turn effects like Upamon, but of course things like Summoning Sickness as well, DP reduction, things like that. So really cool stuff there, being able to DNA Digivolve this. Like let's say you swing twice with like a Flamedramon and like a Magnamon, and then you DNA Digivolve them and then go into Shakumon swing again. It's really powerful. And then of course being able to just play all these blue option cards is one of the next cool things about this deck. Not only those, but you're playing a lot of option cards in this deck, so we'll kind of just talk about the good ones. Ice Wall, Hammer Spark, those are the staples. You guys know what those cards do. I'm testing out Blue Memory Boost a little bit, but realistically you could probably replace this. The deck is consistent enough as it is, so you might not need this. And then we got 3 copies of Megadeth for just being able to remove stuff is really important, especially in the mirror match. Being able to get rid of a Magnamon, this doesn't trigger Armor Purge, so being able to bounce stuff without deleting it is really important. Of course, stuff like Ophanimon, Fall Down, Zwart Defeat, being able to dodge on deletion effects is always nice. Plus, it's just a 5 cost, so it's not too terrible as far as like functionality goes, just playing it from your hand, and then security is really, really broken. And then for the other option cards, the armor option cards, as I like to say, we got Fire Rocket. I talked about why this card's really good, just being a lightning just for the deck. We got 2 copies of Armor Texture. This card is really, really good for a couple of reasons. So all these have a security effect where you would think they add to hint, but they actually don't. So Fire Rocket security effect deletes a Digimon with blocker, so that can possibly get rid of some threat on the field. Plasma Shot's the only one that activates the main effect, just like normal, but Armor Texture lets you play a level 3 Digimon card with free, so this just gets you free Veemon on the field from your hand or trash, and then of course the on-play effects do apply as well, but its main effect is essentially you get to, for a 0-cost option card, by the way, and of course being able to ignore the color requirement, you get to just trash the top card of one of your armor forms, Digivolve into another armor form from your hand, and then unsuspend that Digimon, basically getting, like, switching from, like, a Flame Dramon to a Ride-Dramon, or, you know, that's kind of the whole idea of it. It's just switching between the X, so letting you get multiple swings in is really, really crazy. Being able to go for a game with this is really nice. I probably wouldn't play more than 2 to 3, even though I like the card a lot. It might be a little bit inconsistent early game. And then Plasma Shot is really, really crazy. This, again, rewards you for having more armor Digimon in your trash. So one of your Digimon, opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000, and then for all of each of your armor forms in the trash, all of your opponent gets minus 1,000. So basically, you do minus 4,000 on one thing. Let's say you got like 2 armors in trash, then everything gets minus 2. So one thing got minus 6, and then, you know, the spread effect is minus 2. So really good for just clearing out boards, and for a 4 cost as well, not really even that expensive to be able to do that, especially late game. It's really, really powerful. Hitting this in security can possibly just wipe your opponent's whole board. So hence why you play lots of armor Digimon to be able to proc this. And then for the Tamers, just 3 copies of Davis, 3 copies of Davis Ken. This one is a really cool card because if you've got a blue Digimon in play, you gain 1. If you got a green, gain 1. So if you got something like a light Dramon in play, you gain 2 at the start of your turn, which of course is what you'd expect from a dual Tamer. But these effects are also start of your main phase, not the start of your turn. So if you, for example, don't have any Digimon on field, and then you like promote like a blue Digimon, like a Ride-Dramon or a Veemon or something, into your battle area, and then at the start of your main phase, it will count that Digimon that you just promoted. So really cool stuff there. And then of course being able to just get extra aggression. This card says when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with 2 colors, you may suspend this Tamer to unsuspend that Digimon. So being able to like swing with a Veemon, again, digivolve into a Flame Dramon or a Light Dramon that doesn't inherently unsuspend itself like Magnamon does, and then being able to swing again is really, really nice. Again, just a nice way to get aggression on the field, and memory gain is always welcome as well. So yeah, guys, that is kind of the whole idea behind the deck. Armor Rush Veemon, just having a bunch of really versatile armors in the deck. You could honestly even play a bunch of the different armors. I've got BT8 pulled up here, so we've got the Veemon armors for sure, but then we've also got stuff like Halsamon, who's also a blue-red Digimon. Of course, you don't get the reduced Digivolution because this is, you know, from Hawkmon, so you do have to pay 3, but this guy kind of acts like a Kendo Garurumon, so being able to just have the Armor Purge effect as well, just deleting level 3s is a pretty cool effect. And then there's also a lot of other ones. There's like there's Yellow-Green Rapidmon, Yellow-Green Digmon, there's Green-Red, so those ones you can't really play, but they're definitely just some other options. I was also considering playing, where she at, Sylphimon, somewhere here. There we go. So Sylphimon's a yellow-red Jogress. The reason I don't think this is as consistent because you specifically need like Flame Dramon plus Magnamon, but with Shakumon you need Magnamon plus any of the other champions. So this one, although higher ceiling, not quite as consistent, but definitely maybe an option to mess around with. I was also thinking of playing something like an Imperial Dramon Fighter Mode or Dragon Mode. Fighter Mode I'd probably prefer just because you're not stacking multiple level 4s in this deck. I don't think you really need this card in the deck, but being able to just bounce something with 10,000 or lower is pretty crazy. Of course, if you got enough memory to like Plasma Shot as well, that's a pretty nice combo to do as well. And then probably the last tech I'd probably consider is something like Chimeramon. I think Chimeramon, that is not how you spell it. Chimeramon is really, really crazy in this deck. So this guy is just another DNA Digivolution you can have, but it's just a generic, so it's any 2 Digimon. I honestly might prefer this over something like Shakumon to recover. Of course, gives you the essential rush ability, being able to get another swing in after you Digivolve, and then you've also got the effect to put multiple colors underneath it, so then up to 4 of your Digimon get opponent's Digimon get minus 1,000 for each of those colors until the end of your opponent's next turn. So being able to, let's say, like you Digivolve like a Lydramon plus a Flame-Dramon, that's 3 colors underneath it, and maybe you stick a Magnamon underneath it, that's 4 colors. So that's a pretty big board wipe for a 0 cost, like a 0 evolution ultimate that essentially has rush. So anyways, those are just other options to consider. I just haven't really tested them out, so I'm not sure how viable they are, but Chimeramon I think is just a staple in like most decks going forward from BT8. But guys, that is going to be the list and just kind of a general discussion about the deck and how it functions. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Are you excited to play Veemon Armor Rush, and are you looking forward to any of the other Armor Rush decks that are coming out of this set? Let me know down in the comments what you think. But anyways, guys, that'll be it for this one. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.